After 6 months, after you presented your book in Brussels, after in Berlin, now you're in Bucharest. Why Romanian?
Well, first of all, it's a neighboring country, and it's near to my heart because I'm born in Vidin, which is just across the Danube River in front of Calafat, and I had many Romanian friends, but probably the most important reason is because here in Bucharest we have very active Bulgarian ambassador, and vice versa in Sofia. You Romanians have very active Romanian ambassador in Bulgaria. So this make the story full. You know, when you have two active and willing to help and to add their professional experience people, so we stick together. And Bulgaria and Romania are, I know how to say, cursed or blessed to go together. So that's why after Brussels, which is our common European capital, and Berlin, where I also had many friends and huge Bulgarian community, here Bucharest, where a lot of Bulgarians live and work, as it was the perfect place to have my presentation, and I'm very happy because I'm still full of emotions after the meeting with my fellow compatriots.
What's in your hand luggage, Mr. Milkov? Except memories. Well,
first of all, there is a full package of memories, and that's why I put this name on my book, because I'm always traveling with hand luggage. It's not a joke, because with so many years of traveling, I'm stick with. Actually, I know perfectly what I need for, because normally this is how the life is going. Normally, we are collecting things. We put a lot of things in our houses, and in the end of the day we become slaves of things, many of them totally not important. And when you are in a very concrete situation, a very heavy or tough situation, you realize that you can live with not so many things. So the most important things are just 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, probably not more. That's why I prefer to put my attention on people, on my fellow friends who are walking with me through the way, and not to the luggage. So that's why the things in the luggage are not so important, except the memories.
And these memories are human vitamins?
I could say, yeah, this is very good. You said it perfectly, human vitamins.
You present in your book journalistic experiences. You wrote about Putin, about Gaddafi, about Shimon Peres. Which one is the most important for you?
Well, yeah, probably from this list of people, I will pick, with no doubt, Gaddafi, because I spent 7 years of my life and my professional career in Libya during Gaddafi, and I have a lot of memories from Libya.
And a personal for Bulgarians, a personal thing.
Well, even Gaddafi was a very complicated person. I squeezed some vital knowledge, and some wisdom, even I can say. Even because you mentioned Shimon Peres. I was dealing. I spent a great deal of time in the Middle East, and I met a bunch of evil people and very good people, cursed people and blessed people. But Shimon Peres was a guy who attracted my attention because he was a man of peace. And you know, when I was doing interview with him, he was already president of State of Israel, and I asked him, Mr. President, you spend all your life trying to make peace with the Palestinians. And in the end of the day, because he was already old guy, there was no any future, nothing on the horizon telling us that there could be possible agreement of peace. Don't you feel sad? I asked him. And he said something which I will remember for all my life. He told me, look, young guy, pessimist and optimist die in the same way, but they live different. So that was kind of a small piece of wisdom. I took it in my heart and I will take it with me as far as I'm on this earth. And I was trying to squeeze small pieces of wisdom from anybody who I met during the way.
I have to ask you, as a Romanian, you have a chapter about Vlad Țepeș, Dracula, about Dracula's head.
Mm-hmm.
Why that?
Well, it's kind of in a part of the book with the curiosities. It's much more like a curiosity because, you know, Țepeș, Count Dracula, it's a cliché, world cliché. Everybody knows around the world Dracula. And it's like Venice. When you say Venice, you know, like canals, you have, even you never visit Venice, you know that Venice is a beautiful city with many channels. But if you go to Bologna in Italy, you will totally search for anything else but not for the channels. Because, you know, channels, that means Venice. But Bologna is a wonderful city with a lot of channels, but they're covered. So there is a story in my book that there is a small window where you can look at it's like a hole in the wall. So you open this small window and you see the channels of Bologna. It's a curiosity. So the same story with Dracula. You know Dracula and all his story, but where is the body of Dracula? Even in Romania you argue it is in Snagov, it's in another part, but this is the body without the head. So where is the head of Dracula? And of course, if you know the story of not the Bram Stoker image of Dracula, but the real historical man, yeah, you will know that he was decapitated and his head was presented to the Sultan. So there is this old story in Istanbul, in Galata, where the place where the head was displaced on the street, and in this street, till very recent, it was called Voivoda Han, because there is still a place you can write, you can see the written Voivoda Han. So for centuries, this place is called Voivoda Han because of Dracula. And it's a wonderful story. If you dig a little bit, probably you will not find the head of Dracula, but you will find more and more historical pieces that were forgotten for many years. And that's what inspired me.
We've been talking about your trips as a traveler, but first, as a journalist, you are a sports reporter. You have the time of Bulgarian's golden team with I don't know, Stoichkov, Balakov, Penev,
Yeah.
Berbatov, we have Hagi, Popescu.
Yeah. Wonderful
So,
guys.
why did you choose foreign policy and war correspondent instead of sports?
Well, actually, I was attracted by foreign policy for many, many years. And sport, you know, it was actually defined year, 1994, when the Bulgarians were very happy with what these guys did in the World Cup 1994 in US.
Yes.
So we were number 4. And since then, remind me how many years? Almost 30 years. I didn't see any other success. So unfortunately, all these guys who made us very happy at that time, well, they become old. They're still very big stars, but I don't see anybody from the young generations who could make us happy. I don't know about Romania. This is the sad story from Bulgaria.
The same story here.
Okay, that's why I choose foreign policy. It's much more easier, and probably you will find much more easy what to make you happy than in the sport.
And refines your career. Now you're editor-in-chief.
Mm-hmm.
So is your career up to the end or up in the top?
Well, it's a question of how you feel, because once a journalist, all day long journalist, in my case, because I know many prominent Bulgarian journalists, very talented guys and girls, who were excellent journalists, and in the recent years, the journalists our profession just become not very attractive, and they jump to PR or in policy or whatever, and they didn't stay in the journalism, which is a pity. So I decide whatever may cost me to stay in journalism, except probably the last year when I will not say I become writer, because this is journalist story. So I collect my journalist story in book. But foreign correspondent, war correspondent, and then editor-in-chief, it's a normal career, I think, for a journalist. But even if I'm not in charge of any magazine or newspaper, I believe I will stay journalist, even when I'm retired, despite I don't think I will retire, because journalists never retired. So this is my destiny, to be journalists always.
Not a long time ago, you were in a different trip, a hard trip, to Mount Atos, beside the Professor Nicolae Mihailov. What do you feel in this experience? What do you feel on that mountain?
Well, Mount Athos and Monk Republic in Mount Athos, it's an extraordinary place. It's not a place from this world. I mean, the world we live is one, and the world of Mount Athos is totally different. So all the people who visited Mount Athos will know what I have in mind. It's called Monk Republic, but it's a republic of wisdom and republic of faith. So even the time there is different. The human life doesn't matter. There is plenty of things much more important. So when you enter in Mount Athos, of course you need a special visa, but I believe this is like you you take off your shoes and your dress and you enter in this place willing to be a different person. And if you enter with this feeling, definitely you will see the miracle. So I'm very grateful to Professor Mihailov because the case we were together in Mount Atos was linked with a very special icon, a very important image of Mother of God in one of the monasteries, Hilandar Monastery. This is the Serbian one, but I will not specify because there is a Romanian, Bulgarian, Greek, Cypriot, Russian, but in Orthodox there is no nationality, so we feel all like brothers. So that was a very, very special feeling, entering there, living with the monks, having, it was like a communication, a special kind of communication with this image of Mother of God and all the surrounding of this holy place. And you go out and you feel like you go like a different person. I believe it's very hard to explain because it's irrational.
It's about the soul.
It's irrational what you feel going there and going out. But yeah, it was probably a topic which I will put in my second book because definitely need more wise explanation than I'm giving you now.
That's what I wanted to ask you in the end. What will be next?
Well, for sure, I'm willing to make another book because, I always refuse to write the books. Always, when my friends and my, people around me always encourage me, why you don't collect all these stories you have in a book? I said, no, writing a book, it's a business for old people. I mean, that's how I believed it works. I mean, you live your life, you're active, and when you become old, you
put your memories on the paper.
You start, going back to your memories. That's why I refused for many, many years. But I became 50, and my publisher tried to convince me that 50 is a very good starting point to write a book. So now, when I have this book for few months, I met with so many people, with crowds of people, very, lovely and touching conversations and gatherings, so that this somehow encouraged me to do a next book. So probably this is the way of become a graphoman. I don't know, because suddenly the stories will finish. But no, this is something very, really, totally different than the journalism, because when you write something, it's today, it's now, the news, go. Next. This is something like you have
an evergreen.
Evergreen. So why not one more?
Thank you very much and good luck.
Thank you. Mă bucur că am făcut cunoștința.
Și noi ne bucurăm.